Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Toms, and in my video series, I'm teaching instructors who don't have a background in education how to make their classes more engaging for their adult students. In this video, I'm going to talk about results from a survey I took of current college and adult students and their feedback on current instruction they're receiving in their classes. Some of the items brought up in my survey I've addressed in my other videos, but it's always great to get feedback from current students and learn how to incorporate into your courses what really does work for your students and your course material. It's great to always get new tips and ideas that you can use as part of your instruction. In my survey, I received responses from 58 undergraduate students and graduate students from 19 different colleges and universities across the United States. 51 were undergrad, while 7 students were graduate students. The class standing between the undergraduate students was fairly spread out, with the majority being seniors. 28 students said they were doing both online and on-campus courses, 22 only doing on-campus courses, and 8 were strictly online. Let's start with instructional techniques that these students said were the most effective to them in their classes. Some noted that they liked having a final project instead of a final exam. This way the student could use concepts learned throughout the course hands-on and do real practice. Some also liked having in-class quizzes for comprehension purposes only and did not count as part of their grade. This was a way for instructors to see how students were absorbing the information in the course and if they needed to revisit a topic for further clarification. Demonstrations allow students to see information applied in real time. Online student meetings have become a common thing among all students currently, as we're all in the midst of the global COVID-19 pandemic and majority of classes have been moved online. Students have the flexibility to meet with their fellow students, sometimes on their own schedule. Students also like when there's a change in instructional techniques being used. It's good to shake things up once in a while so instruction is not stagnant and only beneficial to some and not everyone. Discussion is something I addressed in my active learning in both small classes and large class videos. It allows students to form their own opinions and learn from their peers as well as their instructors. When it comes to the really important topics in your course, repeating them lets students realize that this is something that they may see on an exam or project later, so it's worth paying attention. Review sessions are great because it allows students to really focus on what they exactly need to know for an exam. And lastly, a few students noted that they liked having a few short assignments per week. It allowed them to really focus on the topics at hand and come in more prepared for their next class. Here we're going to see what these students had to say that they wished more of their instructors used that would benefit their learning. One item that a student noted that they thought would be beneficial for instructors to add to their classes is something called Ask Me Anything. The instructor would create a Google form where students could go on and ask questions anonymously on anything about the course, material, exams, etc. Then occasionally at the beginning of class, spend 10 minutes going over and answering some of those questions. Some students have a harder time speaking up than others, so it allows everyone to have a voice. Again, students like discussion and find it beneficial to use in their courses. Lectures tend to be a popular instructional method used in many courses, yet it's an ineffective instructional technique. If you want to do lectures, keep it shorter so you don't lose the focus of your students and they learn and retain more information. I previously mentioned how students liked having a final or capstone project because they can have hands-on practice to concepts they learned over the entire semester. That allows them to learn and retain information longer. Exams can show overall comprehension by the end of the course, but really students are just memorizing information to do well on the exam that they're going to soon forget. If you've been able to apply concepts you were talking about in class in your own life, students like to hear about your own personal experience. They know it's something important that can happen outside of class. Students in my survey also know that they would like more meaningful assignments that allow them to be allowed to be personal to them. A key thing to remember is that you want them to retain the information long term, so that they're not just spitting it back. Finally, students want more feedback. Students want to make sure that they are understanding the concepts and information correctly, so they don't make mistakes with it later on. These last items were a few things that student surveys wish that their instructors would be more flexible on. Overwhelmingly, students said they would love to have study guides. Of course, typically anything talked about in class is fair game for any exam or assignment, but that is usually a lot of information. Is it truly all going to end up on the exam? What should students really focus on and what are key points they need to take away at the end of the course? Study guides let students put the most attention on what really will end up on the exam. It was also noted that they wish their instructors would give access to PowerPoint lectures. It would be a great tool for students to have so they have the information you were teaching about in class. When it comes to exams, make sure the scheduled time and the amount of time you are giving are appropriate. I've seen where an online instructor told their students the only time they could take the exam, they would make the exam available was for a 2-hour period during lunchtime on a weekday. For online courses, remember that a lot of students are taking classes online for a reason, as going to class on campus isn't always feasible. Your student schedules are going to be all over the place and may not always be able to step away from their jobs or other things going on to take an exam in such a short time frame. Be consistent but accommodating to your students as well. If you're going to assign a big project or paper, maybe have examples so students know what you are truly expecting of them. Nothing causes more anxiety to students when they work hard on a project only to figure out it's different from what you were initially expecting. Additionally, be flexible with your office hours. It's good to have a set, consistent time so everyone knows when you're available, but if a student needs to see you but they have another class during that time, it's good for give them an option to let them set up an appointment. The key takeaways from all of this is to keep your courses student-centered and not teacher-centered, but just to be flexible and accommodating to your students. Your students will appreciate it and hopefully learn more in the process. In the end, students learn and retain more through various active learning instructional techniques. Let your creativity flow to incorporate into your class with the information you're teaching. I hope these tips and ideas coming directly from current college and adult students are helping you when you're planning your course. In the end, what the students take away matters the most, and most importantly, we want them to learn and retain the information long term. Thanks for watching.